Hello and welcome to today's webinar. Our topic today is social media to pay or not to pay. And it's something that I'm regularly asked by clients. We've all been using social media for a number of years now. And, things have changed, haven't they? We thought it was going to be free, and in fact, it isn't. The program for today's short webinar is it's quite brisk. We've got a lot to get through, but I'm just going to talk to you briefly about the way that social media has changed, the role has changed. And then we'll look at those big platforms that most of us are using. We've got Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube, but there are ad tools on the other platforms. So hopefully this will lay some of the foundations for you. I've had a number of questions in from you today. Thank you for those. So I'll tackle those in the Q&A session if I haven't already covered them in the webinar. But without much further ado, let's dive in. So social media has gone from being something that we thought was going to be free. We thought we'd have the opportunity to connect with our customers free of charge. We thought that we could build groups, we could build our following, and then Facebook went public, didn't they? They had their IPO, and all of a sudden they had to start making money from advertising revenue, and all of a sudden our page reach went right down. The others followed suit, and it's to be expected, but this is the trade-off. We get to access our customers. We get to communicate with them. They get to communicate with each other. But in order to reach people that we don't already know, we're going to have to pay. Now, can everybody see the screen? Can everybody see the slides? Okay, let's see if there's a technical issue there somewhere. Fantastic. Things look like they're okay. Super. So we'll carry on. So goals in using social media. These are some of the main goals that a business would have. Marketing goals, obviously, raising awareness of your brand, your products, engaging with people, often that first little relationship that you build with somebody, and then hopefully building them towards lead generation, willing to share some contact data with you to the point where they convert to a sale. But our business goals in using paid social media are going to be predominantly lead generation, building inquiries, getting people who are interested in working with us, in what we have to offer, and that leading to a sale, either a one-off or a repeat sale. So when you're thinking about embarking on social media advertising, there are a few things that you're going to have to think about, a few things that you're going to have ready. And there are a few steps to go through as well. So every time you go in, you'll need to choose your advertising objective. I'll talk about those in a few minutes. Find your audience. So who are you targeting? Do you want people who are just like the customers you already have? Does that work for you? You want more of the same? Or do you want to reach out to a new group of customers? You can define those parameters with the knowledge that you have about who you want to target. The bit that might take a bit of time is the ad creative. That's the graphic design, maybe photography that you're using, but particularly the language you use, the copy, the calls to action. And that can often be make or break with an ad. Now, you might be using a sort of self-service tool like Canva or PicMonkey, or you might be working with a graphic designer. You might even have an agency that does this for you. But the ad creative was always really important for advertising, and it is still really important for advertising. So that might be where time and budget needs to be focused. Selecting placement will determine whether your ads are viewed in the main feed, if they're on a sidebar, are they on the desktop version, the mobile version. You can kind of play around with these things. Depending on what you're looking to do, you may not find that there's much difference in it. But if you feel that your consumer makes decisions about what you do on the go, then perhaps you might want to focus on a mobile-only campaign. Deciding on your budget and scheduling. Now, you might be doing this as a one-off, you might be doing this as a regular, but your budget, I would always start small and build. Obviously, monitoring, really, really important, because one of the biggest plus points about social media advertising, unlike traditional advertising, is that you can pause, you can stop, you can modify at any point. Just hold on one moment, please. So monitoring is really important. And the great thing about these platforms is that they have fantastic analytics. And you can dive in real time and see how your campaigns are doing. So those are the steps that you're going to go through. So your customers are on social media. You can bet your bottom dollar. Most people are on something, even if they're on Pinterest for their hobbies and they didn't realize it was a social media platform, which is what I've encountered before. But they'll be somewhere on social media. But as with any of your activity on social media, did they expect to see you there? Are they happy to hear from you there? Is there a conversation that you can add to, you can enhance in some way? Or are there places where they really wouldn't expect to see you? Because you're probably going to find that, as with your social posts and your social media activity, so with your ads, if they'd be happy to see you there anyway, chances are they're going to be happy to see your ads there. So you can advertise on just about every social media platform now, including Snapchat. Snapchat have launched the first tier of social advertising tools, although at the moment you need to go through one of their kind of affiliate marketers, one of their providers. But they will roll it out to everybody in time. And this obviously is how they make their money. So they're gathering the data that we share with them. They're building a picture of who we are, what we're interested in, based on everything that we do. Every interaction that we have with social media on our own profiles helps to build this picture of who we are and what we might be interested in. So that's the kind of data that they're gathering. That's what you'll be targeting on. But we're going to focus for today on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube, because those are probably the ones where you're most active at the moment, and that might be where you want to start. But we do cover social media advertising in our live in-person workshops here in Newcastle. In fact, you've got a link on the show page to the Advanced Social Media Marketing Workshop. And we're also going to be launching some bite-sized online courses this autumn. So maybe dip in and see if those are for you. So Facebook is, it's unavoidable really, because 2 billion people on this planet now have a Facebook account. That is more than a quarter of the planet. That's really phenomenal. And the thing about Facebook is that the mobile app works so beautifully that you don't need to have access to a computer anymore. You don't have to have a desktop computer. You don't even have to have a kind of a fixed internet connection to access social media. So it's, in some ways, it's much more democratic than some other forms of online media, because you don't have to have a lot of hardware and a big infrastructure in order to access it. So 2 billion people on the planet are now using Facebook. 1.4 billion are considered to be active Facebook users. A really phenomenal number. And as I said a couple of moments ago, every time those people interact with anything at all, Facebook gathers that data and stores it away for a rainy day. So what can we do in terms of paid features on Facebook? Now, I'm not going to take you through the how-tos. This is more about the what can you do and some of the pros and cons. But we do cover the how-tos in our in-person workshops. So you can run promotions, you can advertise, you can sponsor stories, sponsor updates, you can perhaps promote one of your videos, you can invite people to join you for a live stream session. You can create custom audiences. Now, a custom audience is a group of people that you want to target who share a set of attributes. They could be people who are similar to your current customers, or they could be a completely new type of audience for you. And then finally, Facebook remarketing. Very clever little tool that they have that will create pixels for you. Talk more about that in a couple of minutes. So the basic place to start with Facebook advertising is on your own page. If you're putting an update there, there are various functions that you can perform: schedule, backdate, save it as a draft. But once it's published, you can opt to boost it. So you could boost it to people who already know you, people who know you and their friends, or you can set your own custom audiences. And then that gives you the opportunity to reach people beyond your page. Now, one thing that we found really useful is that you might have slightly different messages for those different groups of people. But if you use your little toggle over here, drop down, one of the things you can do once a post is published is you can hide it. So what you could do is set up a number of posts on your page for slightly different audiences, slightly different groups of people. And then once they're posted and boosted, you can hide them. And then if somebody comes over to your page, they don't see a whole series of random posts that they don't quite make sense of. Very easy to boost posts. You can do it right there on your page. You can do it for as little as £1 per day. So basically you set the duration of your campaign, calculate how much money you want to spend, and then you can play with the little total budget figure in here. Obviously, Facebook is going to suggest a higher amount to you. You know, they're not running a charity, are they? But what they will give you is, based on your criteria, a kind of estimated number of people who could be reached. I've run whole campaigns for clients just on this type of advertising, and it's brilliant. I think particularly if you have a good story, if you have good photography, and something that's really appealing, and maybe something that's time limited, it's a very good way to get people to engage. Very cost effective as well. Okay, so when you're thinking about your campaigns, you've got various options on Facebook. So you can have a sort of a standalone one image, one advert. You can have a kind of carousel advert where you can scroll through it. It's got up to 6 images. Or Facebook will also do the split testing for you. So what's split testing? Well, split testing is where you basically put out one or more version of a piece of communication. It could be an email, could be an advert, anything that you want, subject line. And it's a very clever thing that Facebook do, but they'll present them all, and then they'll kind of let the crowd decide which one they like best. And then they automatically select that one, and that's the one they run with. And, you know, it's really funny. If you work in a business, particularly if you work in marketing, or if you work in any of the creative industries, you might have a fairly kind of developed aesthetic, a fairly developed idea of the best version of your business, your branding, etc. But actually, you may find that your target customer has simpler tastes. And it always makes me laugh when the crowd picks the one that nobody liked. They pick the image and the copy that nobody was really hot on. But that's what they like. So it's also a way of removing ourselves from that selection. We let the crowd decide. So when you go into Facebook advertising, they have made it slightly simpler. It's a pretty complex platform, mind you. But you'll be asked to have a kind of an objective. So we talked about this a couple of minutes ago. So what's your objective? Do you want to raise awareness? You want more people to know about your business name, products, services. Is it consideration? You know that they're aware of you, but actually now you'd like them to start considering you seriously. So you maybe want to get them to visit your website. You might want to get a lead from them, either a phone number or an email address. Or are you hoping now that social media can help you to convert that person who's already interested in you? So it could be increasing conversions on your website, or maybe getting people to redeem an offer. So Facebook are basically giving you a menu. What do you want people to do? So this is why they're asking you for that ad objective. And you know, this is pretty standard across all of those platforms. And if you get your head around this, you'll be able to use Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter, any of them, because it's the same basic principle. What do you want people to do? So other things that you can do with the ad tools and with the audience tools on Facebook include things like custom audiences. Now, a custom audience is basically a target audience customed to your set of criteria. And Facebook will help you with this because it isn't easy knowing who to target. Depending on how much or how little you know about your current customers, it could be very difficult knowing who your target customers are. By the way, we do regular webinars. We do them every month, and we have a number over on YouTube now that you might want to go and have a look at. It's YouTube, and it's the Dolezal Consulting channel. But we have one there which is about email marketing and why email marketing fails. Email marketing, social media, content marketing, they're so closely related. But it often falls down because people don't have good quality data and they don't have good quality customer insight. So that's why targeting isn't always as easy as we think it's going to be. So Facebook can lend you a hand. So first of all, they can create custom audiences based upon the people who've already liked your page on Facebook. Or they, using your remarketing pixel that you've created, more on that in a moment, they can look at the kind of people who visited your website. And again, they can create a lookalike audience based on those people. Almost like a sort of cloning. They'll go and find similar people in Facebook who fit those criteria. And then finally, you might have some email databases, some mailing lists. They could be old clients. They could be kind of, from your newsletter mailing list. It's the list of people who just don't seem to respond anymore. Whatever it is, it might be a group of people who need to see a new version of you. They need to see something fresh. And let's face it, with the variety of content that you can now create and share on Facebook, you can give a really exciting view of you, a really exciting view of your products and services that you wouldn't necessarily be getting across in your newsletter, for example, or your email marketing. So that's just 3 ways in which you can use the custom audience tools. There are links there, but I'm sharing all of these links in the little freebie that will follow this webinar. We'll email that out to you in the next day or 2. And there'll be links in there to all of the main social media tools. Finally, remarketing. Now, pixels are little bits of code that Facebook will generate for you that you can embed in the code on your website. And basically what happens is if somebody visits that page, the next time they're on Facebook, they will be presented with your advert on the side of their page. And it's a little reminder. So depending on where people are leaving your website, they could be leaving halfway through making a purchase, which, let's face it, if they haven't left any contact details, means it's really hard for you to reach out to them, see why they chose not to fulfill that. Why did they leave? So with your remarketing ads, you can, I know it's a little bit stalkerish, but let's face it, it really, really works. You can get people to come back and finish that transaction. Maybe they had some questions they wanted to ask. Maybe they needed more information, and your Facebook presence gives them that information. But either way, it's a free tool, it's a free feature, and it's really great to use it alongside the other advertising tools. So it's basically a quick and dirty overview of the Facebook ad suite. If you're a bulk advertiser, if you're an agency, or you're going to be doing a lot of adverts, maybe similar adverts for your business, you might want to use something like the Power Editor tool. But you'll need to go in through Google Chrome. Pros and cons. Okay, so great targeting. Not just the information we have given about ourselves in our profiles, but also captured from the actions that we've taken, the things we've interacted with on Facebook. So great for location, demographics, age, gender, all those sorts of things, but also behaviors and interests. We go into this in more detail in the workshop, but behavior targeting and interest targeting is superb on Facebook. It's really exciting, and it can help you to get much more focused, to get tighter and tighter in the targeting when you're advertising. Obviously, the more targeted it is, if it's the right group of people, the greater the conversion will be. Reach of 1.4 billion isn't too bad either. Integrates very well with other apps and media. And, you know, Facebook wants you to spend all of your time on Facebook. So they integrate beautifully with your mobile phones, your mobile devices, your laptop devices. And now through things like Facebook Live, really, you know, why would you ever go anywhere else? So integration is really appealing, but also a lot of people will use Facebook to log into other tools and other applications that they use. So lots of reasons to come in, which means the chances are increased of them seeing your ad. I think another pro is that it is deceptively easy to start. You know, boosting posts, very, very easy place to start. Although, word to the wise, if you're going to be doing boosted posts a lot, it's a good idea to go back into them through the ads manager. You have better targeting tools. They're much more likely to eke out the ad spend over the period of time that you've stipulated, rather than just kind of dumping and running on the first day. And it's particularly important if you have a campaign that you need to run over a certain length of time. Okay, on the con side, Jesus, it is complex. Once you get into the advertising side and the ad tools, it is not straightforward. It's very time consuming. You have to have ads, you have to have the creative images that are exactly the right size. You mustn't have more than 20% copy on your images. And Facebook have a very, I think, a very unintuitive algorithm for deciding whether or not the content of your ads is appropriate. So I've had a couple of campaigns recently where there was nothing weird and wonderful about the campaign, but because of their strict parameters, the first version of the ads weren't approved. So be aware of this. It isn't straightforward. You get a low visibility for organic views, obviously. For me, the biggest downside, I've got to say it, is it doesn't allow you to save an ad setup as a draft. And, you know, if you've had to go in a number of times again and again and again, because for some reason there was something wrong with the, you know, the image size or something like that, and you've been round and round in circles, it isn't user friendly. So I think it's one where, you know, if you're going to be doing any Facebook advertising, read around it, maybe come on a workshop, seek some advice, and then be prepared to have a play with it for quite some time before you start to reap the benefits. But the benefits are there to be reaped because so many people are on there. So one of the questions I had today, thank you, Christine, was any facts and figures on the best ways to advertise? Well, facts and figures, I've got a few, and I'm happy to share what I have with you. The click-through rate on ads on Facebook is considered to be about 0.01%, which is less than you would expect for something on the Google network, something on Google AdWords or Google Display Network. Possibly because people don't go on Facebook to interact with adverts, possibly because there is just so much content on Facebook, but it does have a low click-through rate. So flex the numbers, make sure that you're reaching out to enough people that you start to get the numbers that you want. Okay, so that's Facebook. So Twitter. Twitter is a very, very different beast. It is significantly less complex than Facebook. It doesn't have the same reach, mind you, possibly a quarter, possibly a fifth of the number of accounts on Twitter. But it's still very open, it's very easy to connect, easy to find. You can follow anybody, you can find anything you want to on Twitter without having this, you know, mutual connection between you. Twitter. You can promote your tweets, you can promote trends, and you can promote your accounts. So, promoted tweets. This could be a tweet that's performed well. Lots of interaction, lots of retweets, people replied to it, you've got new follows. So obviously, with any kind of social media advertising, pick your winners, don't pick losers. Even if the loser was something that you really, really wanted people to know about. Boost the winners, promote the winners. Just a word to the wise. So you could pick a well-performing tweet, or you can create a standalone tweet, perhaps even with an image, for the purposes of this promoted tweet. Now, one of the nice things about Twitter, because it's such a viral platform and things get shared and passed on and interacted with, retweets, replies, clicks, favorites, all that kind of thing, it could get really, really expensive if you had to pay every time somebody interacted with it. So they just charge you for the first time. So you've put something out there, I've come along and gone, wow, that's fantastic, retweet, you only pay for that one. When the people following me retweet it, interact with it, you don't pay for all of that. So it's pretty good, really. Promoted tweets will appear in people's feed. You might even have a little link in there, or you might have something a little bit more sort of eye-catching with a nice image. Click through and you've got an ad for Sprout Social. Now on Twitter, the way to know that something is sponsored or paid for is it has the little yellow box with the arrow. Promoted accounts. Why would you promote your account? You might want to increase your following. You might want to increase your reach. You might want to increase your reach perhaps in another country. But you can only promote your account at country level. So you couldn't just, say you're based in the southwest of England or Scotland or something. You can't just target locally. You'd have to pay for the whole of the UK. That's a downside, I would say, because it just adds to the expense. And in fact, they may not be people that you can even serve. So a slight sort of downside there. Promoted trends. So the trend uses the hashtag. And hashtags are just the most wonderful thing. By putting a little pound sign in front of a truncated phrase of words, you create something that can travel around the internet, around social media, and can be found at the touch of a button. That's very clever. And it works across all of the social media platforms. So maybe pick the hashtags that work for you and then use them everywhere. You can even create hashtags around your brand names, your product names, your company name, or any phrases that you want. You might want to create a trend. So say you're running a campaign or some kind of event that's coming up, or maybe even tying into some big national or international event that's happening. You can create a hashtag around it. What it will do is it will get you into the little sort of promoted trends box, but it gets you in front of people's eyes. Okay, so Twitter adds self-service platform, but you need to have deeper pockets than you have for Facebook. It isn't the same now, but when they first started, there was an expectation that you'd have a minimum ad spend of about $3,000 a month. Obviously, you can spend a lot less than that now, but you're advertising at national level rather than regional level. So you can go in, set things up, and then leave. And then what Twitter will do is keep dropping you a line saying, you nearly finished, come back. And I think that's a really great feature because it means that you can go in, try it out a little bit. Maybe you decided that you didn't like the creative that you had, or maybe there was something that you needed to check, or the link where you're going to send them to that wasn't quite ready yet. For whatever reason, you can sort of come away from it, pause it, and then go back in and complete it. And for busy people, I think that's a great feature. Okay, so pros and cons, cost per engagement. I think that's a really nice feature, especially on a viral platform like Twitter. Great interactivity. So lots of things that people can do with it. And I like the fact that Twitter is still such an open platform. So it's easy to connect with people, easy to observe and follow without necessarily having that mutual digital connection. On the downside, targeting is not 100% reliable. So it's certainly not going to be as sophisticated as Facebook, for example, or LinkedIn. Your feed is very cluttered. There's a lot going on in there. It's like a little waterfall of words trickling down the page all the time. So you may have, nanosecond for somebody to see your ad. Therefore, it's going to be really eye-catching if you're using an image. And it isn't cheap. Okay, moving on to LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is one of the oldest social media platforms. They were one of the first as well, launched in 2003. it means that they've had a long time for things to settle down. It's almost like the sediment has settled. Therefore, it has a very good search function. It even has a good search function via Google. You can still find stuff on LinkedIn via Google search. You can't do that on Facebook. So good platform, very, very good search features. It's basically looking for words. It's looking for nouns as well. Names, business names, people's names, names of colleges, names of qualifications, all those sorts of things. So super search function, which also means you have, with all that data that we share about ourselves, a super targeting function. So the 4 things that you can do, paid features on LinkedIn. Premium accounts. You can pay for specific types of email campaigns. You can sponsor content. So that could be a post, it could be a video, it could be a download that you're promoting, anything you want to get out there, which means that your word count won't be so limited. Or you can set up an ad, which means you're going to have a good image and you've got very, very few words to get your message across. So paid accounts on LinkedIn. They're very good if you are working either permanently or temporarily in maybe a business development role or recruitment, or there might be something that you're doing for your business right at the moment. You've got a recruitment drive on, or you're looking to maybe target people outside of your networks, maybe even geographically outside of your networks. You get a lot more information about people. You're allowed to send a certain number of in-mail to people that are beyond your second degrees of connection. And you get more information about the people that you're looking for. So there are some nice features to it, but you don't need to have a paid account on LinkedIn to do well and to build your network. So it's very much an optional feature. Paid email campaigns. It's a new feature. I think they launched it about 18 months ago. Obviously, LinkedIn has a huge amount of data. They have a huge amount of targeting, profiling data, contact details, email addresses, etc. But also, along with your LinkedIn account, you get an in-mail address, so people can communicate with you on their platform. And what they will do is, if you go to them with the copy for your campaign and the type of people that you want to target, they will send it to those people on your behalf. They don't give you the mailing list. You're not going to get the data, but they'll send it on your behalf. And then obviously it's up to you to manage the response. I think it's quite a nice feature. I haven't tried it myself yet. Haven't needed to. But I do think it's worth considering if you feel it's appropriate to your business. I think particularly for recruitment, it could be quite a good tool. And then the 2 types of, I suppose, classic advertising that you can do on LinkedIn. So sponsor update, you can sponsor an update. And you know, it's nice because you're not so limited with your word count, and it might be, especially for awareness raising, building relationships, it's a nice feature. Or you might want to create a standalone advert. This is an example of a piece of content. So this was a status update that we promoted on behalf of NESMA. And I teach for North East Sales and Marketing Academy on the Chartered Institute of Marketing and the Digital Marketing Institute programs for them. It's also where we run our one-day workshops. Now, this was so easy to set up. I literally cut and paste the hyperlink of this page into this box. It pulls in all of the meta tags, the images, absolutely everything, sets it up for you, and it's kind of ready to go. And then it's up to you to decide who you're targeting. So you can target based on location, you can target based on job title. And you know, we were quite pleased to see that when we were promoting this course, the level 5 diploma in digital marketing, there were maybe 35,000 people within a 25-mile radius of Newcastle upon Tyne who might be able to get to it, who could possibly be interested in it. So whenever you're setting up an ad, you can get to this stage, you know, you can kind of test the water and see, is there a market for this? What are the numbers like? Is it worth it? And is it worth spending the money on advertising? You have choices. You can either do CPC, which is cost per click, or you can pay for impressions. So the standard measure for that is called cost per meal, cost per 1,000 impressions. And that basically means that 1,000 people have the opportunity to see this ad. It doesn't mean that they are going to do anything with it, but they have the chance to see it. You can set your budget for it on a daily basis or a total basis, and you can set the duration as well. So here you are. You've got like a little snapshot of your overall campaign, and then you can decide to go or no go. One of the nice things about LinkedIn, as with Twitter, they want your advertising money. And so if you left it at that point, you'd get lots of emails reminding you to come back and finish it off. I personally consider that to be a service, especially when you get busy and you've got a lot of other calls on your time. So I think that's quite nice. You have a much higher value audience on LinkedIn. There is within organizations, you'll find that there's a certain level above which people will be on LinkedIn. And then there's a certain level beneath which people don't feel they ought to be or should be, that there's no benefit to them. But on the whole, it does tend to be people above a certain education level and professionals. So they have a kind of higher net worth. They're going to have a business budget to spend. They may be earning more money. Don't forget, LinkedIn is a big recruitment tool. So they know what salaries are like. They know what average salaries are like in industry, so they know what people are worth and what their spending power is. It has the most superb targeting and search function. You can really find just about any needle in any haystack on there, but also you get a lot more information from them. I think the ad platform is very user-friendly, and also the customer support is superb. So you can email them with issues or queries, and they'll come back to you the same day. A named person will respond. And so you feel as though it's a business service. I can't say the same about Facebook. If you've ever tried emailing Facebook, good luck with that one, because there's nobody there. And it can be a lot less expensive, particularly for recruiters, than traditional recruitment agencies, ad channels, which can be very, very expensive. In fact, I had a client moving over from traditional agency recruitment, and they were currently spending in excess of £50,000 a year just on the cost of recruitment. So for them, something like LinkedIn is a significant saving. Okay, what else can we say on the plus side? Yeah, less expensive for recruiters. Cons, okay, so you've set up an ad campaign, whether it's sponsored content or it's a standalone ad campaign. You'll get clicks, and you'll get the number of clicks. You'll get a count of the number of clicks, but you won't get the contact data. So it's up to you to make sure that that secondary data capture is set up. So if you've sent them to somewhere on your website or to some kind of data capture form, that's the best way to get the details from them, because otherwise it's just a number on an analytics page. It's a little bit more expensive. So average cost per click is maybe $6. On Facebook, it would be about 50 cents. Minimum daily budget of $10. For standard ads on Facebook, for boosted posts, it's £1 a day. For the ad side of the business, it's maybe £5 per day. It isn't cheap, obviously, but again, if it's a more valuable sale, then it may be worth the investment. But I do think the downside is that InMail has become a bit spammy. And if you look at your email box, it's mostly people trying to flog you stuff. Very seldom people reaching out with anything that's of particular interest. So, if you're planning to do sort of in-mail campaigns or purchased in-mail campaigns, how are you going to stand out? How are you going to get people's attention? What do you have that could really, really light them up? Okay, so finally, YouTube. Incidentally, all of our past webinars are over on YouTube. They're available to view. I think there are maybe 6 or 7 over there now, and our YouTube account is Dolezal Consulting. So go on over and check those out. So paid features on YouTube. You can promote your business channel. You can promote individual videos. You can monetize your channel and effectively sell ad space on your channel. And you can also do the kind of keyword campaigns, the AdWord campaigns that you can do on the Google platform. Now, YouTube is owned by Google. If you have a Google Plus account, you automatically have, if you have a Gmail account, you automatically have a Google Plus account, and you automatically have a YouTube account. As a business, it's very easy to set up your business channel, put in a bit of branding, something about your business, and claim your space, get your URL. You can subscribe to videos for people who do similar things to you and create a nice sort of interesting place for people to visit. And there are ways that you can make money out of your channel. So you can monetize your account, which means that if people are doing something that fits well with what you do, they want to advertise something that fits well with what you do, they can perhaps advertise on your channel or on your page. So where would those ads appear? Well, basically, you've got 3 places. So it can your video can appear, or somebody else's video can appear in the search results. So this is a search for running shoes, but the ones at the top are going to be the premium spots. You can have little tiny sort of preview videos that sit before your video, and you can sell those spaces, or you can buy those spaces on other people's channels. And also you can advertise beside the videos. So lots of different places. And the way that it's set up is that using the YouTube has the same setup, the search console that Google does. You can basically set all of your kind of keywords and the types of people that you're targeting, and the promises, good targeting, the promises that your video will appear in appropriate feeds, in appropriate places. The promise is also that appropriate video content will appear on your channel and next to your videos. But we do know that is one of the cons with YouTube. We do know that targeting is poor, which is why the follow-on content after you've watched your video, the things that are suggested, can sometimes be very off-topic. So that doesn't suggest to me a very good targeting tool. So what are the pros? Well, Google owns YouTube, and Google loves YouTube, and everybody else loves YouTube as well, and people love video. So you've already got a lot of things going for you if you have good quality content on YouTube. It is the second largest search engine after Google, and a lot of people live in there. They spend all their time in there. And there's a little sort of daisy chain effect. If you watch one thing and you'll be suggested other things to watch, and you can spend quite a long time in YouTube. Also consider how YouTube has changed over the years. It's gone from being a place where we put homemade videos through the kind of late 2000s, where all the brands were chucking their adverts on there. And then the film industry and the music industry got wise. So the music videos all went on there, and then films went on there. And now it's the archive. You find anything that you've ever watched on telly, things you grew up with as kids, TVs, programs, all these things are on there. But then there's a whole other side to YouTube, which is educational. It's where we go to learn. It's where all the how-to videos are, but it's also where a lot of training and educational videos are. Obviously, there's a load of dodgy stuff on YouTube as well, but that is not the topic of this webinar. So sophisticated targeting for cost per click and for display ads. So these are nice things. Also, YouTube is a great place for viral content because people love to share videos. So on the cons, sometimes poor targeting and weird off-topic follow-on content. Cost per click is an auction. You need to know this. You are bidding against others for the highest spot. So if they bid more than you, you basically get to the back of the line. So you can spend a lot for some keywords. Back in the day when we were doing this a lot, we might be bidding £200 or £300 per keyword. It needs to be worth the investment, basically. And the other thing I would say is that just as the Search Console is fun to play with, but I wouldn't go spending a lot of money on your own. I don't think it's for the amateur. I really do feel that, as with search engine optimization, keywords and all that kind of thing, it pays you to get good advice. It pays you to do it properly, because otherwise what you're doing is just putting money in the pockets of Google. So there we are, some pros and cons. So what are the steps in creating your ads? Well, you need to set your goal. What do you want to achieve? Is your offer compelling? Is it going to light anybody up? You then need to spend a bit of time away from the platform, getting everything ready. If you're going to be giving something away, get it ready. If you're going to be welcoming people to a page on your website, get it ready, and get your data capture mechanism ready. The forms that people need to fill in, where they're going to give you their email address, where they're going to give you the mobile phone number. It needs to be ready. Finally, think about your offer. Get everything ready. What will the follow-up be? Is customer service ready? Is your team ready for the response? So you choose your ad objective. Think about who that target audience is going to be. You might want to set up some custom audiences, some sort of, we think we'd like to be in front of these kinds of people. So you can set those up, and on most of the platforms, you can save those as named audiences. So next time you want to do an ad to them, you just go in and select that one. Get your ad creative and your copy, get that all ready. And for Facebook, rigid parameters, make sure you've got the dimensions absolutely spot on. And then thinking about your budget. What is it worth to you to get that click? What is it worth to you to get that person's contact details? What is the potential value of that sale? If it's thousands of pounds, it's worth investing a few hundred. If it's hundreds of pounds, it's worth investing a few quid. So think about it. What can you make out of it? That's what you should be thinking about investing in it. Monitoring is important. You want to know that it's doing well. And you might need to go in and modify things a little bit. And the lovely thing about all of the platforms is you can pause it in real time. You can cancel it, you can stop it, or you can modify and set it to go again. And I think that's one of the lovely features about digital marketing overall. It's that ability to go in and modify in real time. That means that you can make it as effective as possible. Now, I mentioned earlier that we do in-person workshops in Newcastle, but I want to be able to offer support to people further afield. So we're launching some bite-sized online courses this autumn. We'll be sending out details as and when they come online, but look out for them. As one of our webinar attendees, you'll be invited to help us test them. And so obviously there'll be lots of early bird offers and introductory rates to you. So hopefully that's something that's appealing to you. I'm going to address questions in just a moment, but if I haven't covered your burning question today, just drop me a line. Just pop on over and say hello. You've got my email address. So I've got a few questions here. Thank you for those of you who've emailed in. Okay, so first of all, how effective are paid ads on Facebook? Well, I think they're very effective. I think depending on your audience and what you have to offer and whether Facebook is the place to connect with those people, I think Facebook advertising can be effective. The click-through rate is very, very low, which is why you have to increase the numbers of potential reach in order to, to get the numbers. But I think it's definitely worth including in your mix. And I think depending on your objective, particularly if it's awareness, consider doing it over a period of time, a longer time, so that you really have a chance for people to see your ads and for your name to get out there. Are one-off ads ever worth it? Oh yes, definitely, definitely. You might have a big event coming up, or a webinar that you're hosting, or an offer. You might have some stock that you want to get rid of. Absolutely do a one-off. And I've had clients who've had particular success with those. Let's see which one. Okay, which platforms allow you to target by location? I think the most refined geographical targeting would be LinkedIn or Facebook. You know, it allows you to pick a city, pick a location, set a radius around it. So that's probably the most sophisticated. Others will allow you to advertise at country level. And when you've got a country as big as the UK, for example, that may or may not be appealing to you. Don't forget, if you're paying to advertise to your whole country, you're maybe wasting spend on people that you don't want to reach. Oh yes, here's a good one. Why do you have to set objectives in ad campaigns? Okay, well, it's quite simple. There's a template that sits behind that button, and the template has the call to action button already set up in it. So that's literally all you're getting for it. But it is also to help you consider what you want to achieve and to, I suppose, manage your expectations somewhat. But basically, the objective sets the button and what will be on the button. So call us, click now, visit website type thing. Okay, so that's how that works. Last one. Okay, a LinkedIn adds value for money. And I think the answer to that one is yes, if you do them well. And so by doing them well, I mean it was interesting, it was worth sharing. And you've set up that secondary data capture mechanism. So maybe it's a landing page. You might be using something like ConvertKit or Lead Pages, which is what we use. So you've got somewhere that you're sending them with possibly something that they can get in return. And you're going to get an email address or a phone number from them. So I think then they work. Are they value for money? Depends what you're paying per click. And I think that's going to be dependent on how much you could make out of that potential sale. So if it's thousands of pounds, if it's a diploma course, or if it's perhaps a big contract for your business, then it's worth spending, upwards of $10 on a click. But if what you have for sale is maybe in the tens of pounds or dollars, then it's possibly not worth it for you. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed today's webinar. We're planning our autumn series at the moment, so we'll come out via email and let you know what the next ones are going to be about. If you'd like to join a live training session, if you go over to the replay page on Lead Pages, you'll see links to the next advanced social media marketing workshop we have. But we run those throughout the year along with our other workshop series. I'll come back to you in the next few weeks with details about our new bite-size online courses, and I'll be sending you an email follow-up in the next couple of days with links to a little free guide to accompany this webinar, to pay or not to pay, quick links to ad tools. All of the platforms want you to advertise on them, so they've got fantastic guides on board to take you through. I think they're the best place to start, and then I would go and have a look at maybe some of the other stuff that's out there, or join one of our workshops, or join another workshop in your area, because it isn't just about the tools, it's about the application. Okay, and you may get a lot of inspiration from the experiences that others have had, and also the suggestions that other people make. So who am I? Well, this is me. I'm a consultant, marketing consultant. I'm a trainer. I'm a teacher, and I'm kind of old school and new school. So I've got my chops in traditional marketing with a master's in marketing. But in the last 5 years, I've discovered digital marketing and latterly content marketing, and I have embraced them with open arms. To me, they are the future of marketing. So that's why social media, email, content marketing are of terrific interest to me. And I hope I've managed to make it of interest to you. And I look forward to seeing you on our next webinar. Thank you for your time today. Goodbye.